Hello everyone, this is Manohar Reddy, Department of Cybersecurity, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today I am going to explain the concept of definitions and terminologies on views and subqueries. Definitions and terminologies on views and subqueries. So what is meant by view and what is meant by subqueries, how we are going to write the subqueries in views and tables. So views in SQL are considered as a virtual table. So in generally, we can write the queries on tables. We can write the queries on tables. So views are nothing but what the virtual tables. Views are nothing but what virtual tables. So view also contains rows and columns. Views also contains what rows and columns as like the table contains. So a table contains what columns and rows. So columns and rows. The same way, the virtual table is nothing but what views, also having the same columns and rows. So to create the views, we can select the fields from one or more table present in the database. So to create the views, we can select the fields. We can select the fields or attributes from one or more tables present in the database. One or more tables present in the database. A view can either have a specific rows based on certain condition or all the rows of a tables. So views can be either have a specific rows based on certain condition or all the rows of a tables. So all the rows of a table. So from this we can say that what a view is nothing but a virtual table which can have both table columns and rows. So how you are going to create the views? The view can be created using create view statement. Create view statement. So we can create a view from single table or multiple tables. So single table from we can create as well as multiple tables also. From multiple tables also we can create a view. We can create a view. So how we can create a view as a syntax. So create view name as select column names from table name where condition. Select column name, column 1, column 2 or something from table name where condition. So on the basis of that we are going to create the tables. So we already said that what creating a views from single table and multiple tables. So how we can create them? So here in this example we can create a view named details view. We can create the view name as what details view from the table student details. So example here the create view customer view. So customer view is the view name as select star from customer. So that is nothing but what from the customer table, whatever the fields are having. Suppose in the customer tables we can have customer ID, customer name and the customer salary. So these are the fields available in the customer table. So whenever we created a view from this customer table, automatically all these columns will be shifted into this view called customer view. Customer view. So automatically they are shifted to customer views. So customer ID, customer name, customer salary. So all these will be shifted into this view. So just like the table query, we can, if you want to see the data of that view, we can write the query as like seeing the table. So how can we see the table's data? Select star from table. In the same way, we can see the data from the view also. Select star from the view name. Creating view from multiple tables. So from multiple tables, how you are going to take? So from the multiple tables means this is the table 1 and this is the table 2, and which contains one column ID and name, and this contains what salary and address. If I want to create a view from these two tables, I can write the column names along with the table name while creating of the view. So how we are going to create the view from multiple tables? See here. So view from multiple tables can be created by simple include multiple tables in the select statement. So include multiple tables in the select statement. In the given example, a view is created named marks view. A view is created named marks view from two tables called what? Student underscore detail is one table, student underscore marks is also one table. So from these two tables, I am going to create a view with some particular columns. I am going to create a view with some particular columns. So what are the columns that I am going to create? So here the query we can write it as like this: create view multiple view. So multiple view is the view name as select persons dot name. So here I can have two tables. One is persons, and the second one is persons 5. So persons, in this persons I can have name and age, but in the persons 5 I can have city. So now I want to create a view from these two tables. So I am going to creating here. So how can I create here? See here. So create view multiple view as select persons dot name. So name from persons column persons table, and persons dot age. So age is also from persons table, comma persons 5 dot city. That is nothing but city from persons 5 table, from persons comma person 5. Those two you need to put it, and where the condition is what? Person dot name equals to persons 5 dot name. Persons dot name equals to persons 5 dot name. On basis of this condition, the multiple view is created. With the name, age from the persons table, and the city from the persons 5 table. So now view is created. How it is created? The name is what? Multiple view. The multiple view. In that I can see what? Name, age, and city. Name, age, and city. So now if I want to see the data of this multiple view, I can write the query is what? Select star from multiple view. Now I can see all the list of data which is available in this multiple view data. So this is the way I can create view from single table, creating view from multiple tables, and deleting the views. So how can we delete the views? So same like how we can delete the table, the same way you can delete the view also. So view can be deleted using the drop view statement. So drop view name. We can write it as well. Drop view name. So example, if I want to delete the view marks view, we can delete what? Drop view marks view. So this is the view name. Marks view is the view name. So now the view is deleted. So the next subquery. So in the real time we can see the different types of subqueries are there. So what is meant by subqueries, and how the subqueries are used to retrieve the values. So subquery or inner query or nested query. We can call it as what? Subquery or inner query or nested query is a query within another SQL query. And it is embedded within where clause. So that nested query is embedded within where clause. So it is used to return data that will be used in the main query as a condition to further restricted data to be retrieved. So subquery returns the data that will be used as a condition for the main query, the result of the subquery. So from this statement we can understand that what? Result of the subquery will be taken as a condition for the main query. main query. So to do this, we can use some subqueries can be used with a select statement, insert statement, update statement, and delete statements, along with the operators called by what, like equal operators, greater than, less than, equal, greater than, in, between. These are all the operators. These are all the operators which are embedded while performing the subquery operations. But for some particular restrictions, the subqueries cannot be possible. So for that, some rules are implemented. So subqueries must be enclosed within the parentheses. Subquery must be enclosed within the parentheses. So the subqueries must be enclosed within the parentheses. Subquery can have only one column in the select clause unless multiple columns are in the main query for the subquery to compare its selected columns. So it can have only one column in the selected clause. So that is nothing but subquery contains only one selected clause. A subquery cannot immediately enclosed in a set function. A subquery cannot be immediately enclosed in a set function. And also the between operator cannot be used with the subquery. So between operator cannot be used with the subquery also. However, the between operator can be used within the main query. So we can use it in main query but not in the subquery. So these are some subquery rules that are to be followed to writing subqueries. So here we can have different types of subqueries with different statements. So subquery with the select statement. So how we are going to write the syntax as well as the example. So subquery with the select statement. So here we are writing the query is what, select star from customer 1 where ID in of select ID from customer 1 where salary greater than 18,000. So we already said that what, the subquery within the parenthesis and the subquery enclosed within the parenthesis. So whatever we writing inside of this is called as what, subquery. So select ID from customers 1 where salary greater than 18,000. This subquery gives a result. And this result will be acting as a condition for the main query. So now suppose select ID from customers 1 where salary greater than 18,000 means it displays all the IDs. Suppose example, we can take only 1, 2, 3 or 2, 3, 4 as an IDs which are having greater than 18,000. So from this we can execute this command also. So what is this? Select star from customers 1 where ID in of 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. So if 1, 2, 3 is existed, then it displays all the details of that customer. Or else 2, 3, 4 existed, then it displays all the details of that 2, 3, 4 customer. So the same way, select star from customer 1 where salary greater than of select average of salary from customer 1. So it displays what, average salary of the customer 1, and that will be acting as a condition for the main query. The same way, this query also, average salary from customer 1 displays the result, and this result will be acting as a condition for the main query. So that is the way we can use the select statements, subquery with the select statements. So we are writing subquery inside of the parenthesis. From this all we can have different types of securities, integrities, security concepts. So what is meant by security actually? So protecting the database from unauthorized access or alteration or deletion. All this is nothing but what, we are going to protecting ourselves. So it maintains security and integrity. So it refers the accuracy or validation of the data. It refers accuracy or validation of the data. And the threats to the security and integrity. So a threat is nothing but what a situation or event or personnel that will adversely affect the database security and the smooth and the efficient functioning of the organization. So threats to database may be intentional or accidental. It may happen or it may unwantedly it happens. So given below are some database security threats. So some of the database security threats: database tampering, data tampering, eavesdropping and data theft, eavesdropping and data theft, falsifying users identifies, falsifying users identities, password relation threats, unauthorized access to the data, unauthorized access to the data, and lack of accountability, so these are all some database security threats. So without having the security, the threats will lead to some risks also. So how can we define, how can we defend them? So generally there are 4 levels of defense are recognized for the database security. So one is what? Of physical security. One is what? Physical security. You need to provide some additional security as a physical way, and of human factors also, human factors. And the third one, operating system security also. So misleading configurations, server configurations, database configurations, operating system configurations. You need to provide in more secure way. And database system also, you need to design the softwares in secure way. You need to design softwares in secure way. So these are all the defensive mechanisms. So relational decomposition. So to do the normalization process, to achieve the normalization process, we are going to perform some separation of the tables. We are going to perform some separation of the table. So what is the process of relational decomposition? So when a relation in the relational model, is not in appropriate normal form. So a relation is nothing but what? Table. So a table in the relational model is not in appropriate normal form, then the decomposition of relation is required. So it is called as what? Relational decomposition. So here it takes place to decompose the table because the table is in not appropriate normal form. So in a database, it breaks the table into multiple tables. If the relation has no proper decomposition, if the table or relation, so we can call it as what? Both relation or table, it has no proper decomposition, then it may lead to problems like loss of information. So if the relation has not proper decomposition, then it may lead to problems like loss of information. And decomposition is used to eliminate some of the problems of bad design like bad design anomalies, inconsistencies, and redundancies also. So to avoid this all, we need to decompose the table in proper way. So types of decompositions. What are the types of decomposition? The decomposition, lossless decomposition under dependency preserving. So lossless decomposition is nothing but what? If you divide the tables into different tables, then the data should not be lost. Then it is called as what? Lossless decomposition. Even though you are decomposing the tables, the data could not be lost. So that is called as what? Lossless decomposition. Dependency preserving. So dependency preserving is nothing but what? The table attributes, one attributes of the tables are depending upon the another attributes of the table. So then it is called as what? Dependency preserving. And for this, functional dependency also. So functional dependency is nothing but what? It is one type of relationship that exist between two attributes. It typically exists between the primary key and a non-key attribute within the table. So the relationship between the primary key and non-primary key is called as what? A functional dependency. So there is nothing but indirectly we can say that the relationship exists between two tables or two attributes. So we can represent it in the form of like what? X tends to y. So here the left side indicates what? Left side is nothing but determinant. Left side indicates what? Left side determinant. And the right side of the production is known as what? Dependent. Right side of the production is known as what? Dependent. So dependent is nothing but other non-prime attributes, non-key attributes are depending on what? Determinant. So that is nothing but ID. So ID is the determinant, and other than IDs are what? Dependents. So example here, the table contains what? Employee ID, employee name, employee address. Here, employee ID attribute can uniquely identify the employee name attribute of a employee table. Because we know that employee ID, we can tell that employee name associated with. So if we know the employee ID, we can tell the employee name associated with. But if you know the employee name, we cannot tell the employee ID. So that's why employee name is non-primary attribute and the employee ID is the primary attribute. So this employee name is depending upon employee ID, but not employee ID is depending upon employee name. So we can say that employee name is functionally dependent on employee ID. Functionally dependent on employee ID. So from this normalization, so how we are going to perform the normalization? So why do we need normalization process? So normalization is the process of organizing the data in the database. So how we are going to organize the data in the database? So normalization is used to minimize the redundancy from a relation, that is nothing but table, or set of relations, that is nothing but set of tables. So set of tables. So how we are going to remove the duplicates from the table and remove the inconsistency from the table. So that is all about to organize the data in proper way. So that's why we can say that what normalization is the process of organizing the data in database. So to do that, normalization uses what? Minimize the redundancy from the relation or set of relations. It is also used to eliminate undesirable characters like insertion, update, and deletion anomalies. So these are all some problems. Undesirable characters are insertion, updation, deletion. So to eliminate eliminate these all anomalies also, we can use this normalization process. So normalization divides the larger table into smaller and links them using relationship. So normalization process is nothing but what? It divides the table into T1 and T2. But also, so it divides the table into smaller. Again, it links using the relationship. It links using the relationship. So this normal form is used to reduce redundancy from the database table. So why do we need normalization? The main reason for normalizing the relations is removing these anomalies. Those what anomalies? Insertion anomalies, updation anomalies, deletion anomalies. For only these anomalies, we can use this normalization process. So failure to eliminate anomalies leads to data redundancy. So if you are not removing these anomalies, it leads to data redundancy process and can cause data integrity and other problems as the database grows. So the database integrity problems will come and data redundancy problems also come. And normalization consists of a series of guidelines that helps to guide you in creating a good database structure. So creating a good database structure. So for this, we can have different types of normal forms. First normal form, second normal form, third normal form, and third normal form, stronger normal form is called as what? Voice card normal form. Voice card normal form. Fourth normal form and the fifth normal form. So like the way different types of normal forms are there. So first normal form contains only unique values or single values. There is no atomicity problems. And the second normal form contains what? It all the values, all the attributes having fully functional dependency. All the attributes are having fully functional dependency. Third normal form having fully transition dependency, fully transitive dependency. And fourth normal form having fully multi-valued dependency. And the fifth one, lossless join dependency. Lossless join dependency. So with the help of these all, satisfying these all with the constraints, the normalization can be achieved. Normalization can be achieved with the different stages. Normalization can be achieved with the different stages. So all these normal forms are used to achieve this normalization process to avoid the problems like what? Integrity problems, insertion deletion anomalies problems, data redundancy problems. To this all. So once again, we revise the topic which we discussed in this session. So here, what is meant by views, what is meant by subquery, and what is meant by normalization, and all. So here, what is meant by view? Views are nothing but what? It is a virtual table. So what actually table contains, everything will be contained in the views. So here we can create the view as like we creating the table also. But here we can create the view from single table as well as creating a view from multiple tables. So to creating a view from single table, we can directly write it. We can directly write the syntax. But to creating a view from multiple tables, we can include two tables. We can include two table columns also, and dropping the view also same like dropping the table. Subquery. So to write the subqueries, the main uses of to write the subquery is what? To retrieve the information. But to write the subqueries, we can use different types of rules. We can have different types of rules. So subquery or inner query or nested query is a query within the another SQL query. Within the another SQL query. So to write that SQL queries, we can use the statements called select, insert, update, and delete statements. Along with these, we can use some separate operators also, less than, greater than, equal to, in, between operators. So with the help of these all, we can write the queries in subqueries. We can write the queries as a subqueries. So to write that subqueries, we can also having some certain set of rules. Follow them and write the subqueries. So here, subquery with select statement. So here, the subquery select statement contains only one column, but main query contain number of columns. And what is the importance of security? So what is the security and integrity? Refers the accuracy of validation. So threats to security and integrity. So threats are nothing but intentional and accidental things that are used to destroy the data. And here some database tampering, eavesdropping and data theft, falsifying user identities, password related threats, unauthorized access to data, lack of accountability. So to all these defensive mechanisms also used. So there are levels of mechanisms are there. Physical security is one level, human factors is one level, operating system, database systems, and relational decomposition. So how we are going to decompose the tables to achieve the normalization. So a table is in the relational model is not an appropriate normal form. Then the decomposition will occurs here. So decomposition is nothing but what? Dividing the table into multiple tables. Again, we can join them to get the same information. So that leads to problems like loss of information. If it is not in the proper decomposition, then it may lead to problems like loss of information. And here the decomposition having the two types are there. One is lossless decomposition and the second one is dependency preserving. So lossless decomposition is nothing but what? When you are dividing the tables into two ways or three ways, the data could not be lost. Then it is called as what? Lossless decomposition. And functional dependency. So it is nothing but what? The relationship exists between two attributes. So here the table contains employee ID, name, employee address. So name and address are depending upon the employee ID. So that is nothing but functionally dependent on that employee ID. And normalization. So it is nothing but what? Process of organizing the data in the database. So it is used to minimize the redundancy problems, insertion, update, deletion, anomalous problems, and integrity problems also. So without a normalization process, the data always gets the problems like integrity problems, security problems, redundancy problems, and all this. So that is all about the normalization concept of use subqueries definitions. Thank you all.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.